Nightline continues from Times Square. Once again, Martin Bashir.
Now to finding God a whole new way in the North Country. Churches are always looking for novel approaches to bring young people into the fold. But a brand new breed of church is pushing the envelope in a whole new way. In our series Faith Matters, ABC's Laura Marquez reports from the Twin Cities in Minnesota.
These are all the things we've come to expect from a religious service. Faith, reverence, and rock and roll. That's what you get at Spirit Garage in Minneapolis, along with earplugs if you want them.
One of our taglines here is, come to a church that feels more like Saturday night than Monday morning.
The setting resembles a coffee house more than a church. And in the serious world of religion, Spirit Garage has a sense of humor. For instance, on the stage that fills in for an altar, there's a radial tire in place of a regular evergreen Advent wreath.
It's kitsch, people love it. So, maybe twist or turn things just a little bit here and there to try and give it some new life and some new meaning when, oftentimes some of these symbols and things just don't really connect. And so we want to try and take that which is old and that which is now and kind of try and mash them together a little bit.
I've always felt uncomfortable in traditional churches, so I was seeking something that wasn't the norm when I started.
Growing up in the traditional church, the comfort level was familiarity of the music, of the liturgy, not so much that I felt like I really belonged or that I had a real faith there. Here, the people are real, the faith is real, the music is, from the heart, and my comfort level is higher here.
Oh, Mary, don't you cry, don't you cry. Oh.
Spirit Garage is not unique. It's part of a growing movement called the Emergent Church, a loosely connected group of Christian churches rebelling against the cultural war going on in this country when it comes to religion.
We're looking for some kind of a new moral center.
Brian McLaren is pastor of Maryland's Cedar Ridge Community Church and one of the movement's most active leaders.
This is an interesting moment because we have been in a religious Cold War for so long. Polarized between religious conservatives, religious liberals. And those two, in many ways, define themselves almost in reaction to each other. And then there's a whole group of us who are just tired of that polarization. We're tired of it for a lot of reasons. We think that there's some real strengths on each side. And so to have to choose one set of strengths and ignore the other set, to us just doesn't make sense.
We'll be with you, and also with you.
But how each member of the Emergent Church movement tries to merge those two sides of Christianity varies greatly. Spirit Garage, for instance, is sponsored by a mainline Lutheran church, but others have no such formal connection to traditional denominations.
I look at us as an R&D department of people who are trying to innovate and experiment, make a lot of mistakes, I'm sure, but hopefully we'll discover things that can serve the church at large and be of use to the church at large.
The experiment targets primarily young adults.
Recent surveys show a vast majority of people in their 20s and 30s believe in God, but do not attend a traditional church. To tap into this generation of unchurched believers, some pastors have developed alternate ways to worship in rather unusual settings.
So great.
At Bluer, a Minneapolis church which takes its name from True Blue, the gathering, as it's called, resembles more of a Grateful Dead jam. 45 minutes is devoted to Christian music.
When I see you and you look at me, oh.
There are many altars set up around the room for individual prayer and communion.
What is it about this church that you like?
It's more contemporary. It's not as traditional, very laid back and very comfortable.
Most of Bluer's members are young adults, but the pastor says he no longer markets to just this group.
I think we originally, as a ministry to young adults, we did that. We did everything except shoot Jesus out of a cannon, in order to be hip and cool, right? But after a while, we just decided that, why don't we just be ourselves?
Bluer attracts even more people through its Godcast, one of the first churches to pioneer podcasting of its services on the internet.
It's an amazing knowledge that God has invited us to participate.
Bluer is considered part of the Emergent Church movement, but Pastor Music says that's not why people come.
This is just their church. They've come here, they like it, and they've found a home. So, to label it one thing or another, they're not going to understand what that is.
Each Emergent Church operates independently from one another, but one of the movement's leaders says, together as a whole, this new generation of churches has the power to change the way Christianity is practiced. Pastor McLaren acknowledges change can be difficult.
Traditional churches feel under threat. They're under threat by sex, they're under threat by television. And then people like us come along, and then they might think that they're under threat from us. It's exactly what you'd expect. All through church history, you have a group of people who say, we think there are new possibilities here, and other people feel threatened by that.
So far, mainline churches have tolerated the Emergent Church movement, but as it grows, the two may be heading on a collision course.
I'm gone and I'll never look back at all.
I'm Laura Marquez for Nightline in Minneapolis.
Laura Marquez, thank you. When we come back, a comedy hit.